Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iOS today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Andy Ihnatko is here to tell us about how his iPad Pro is the perfect away-from-home machine. I will show you how I improved life on my battery on my Apple Watch and a new app for my podcast addiction. All that and a whole lot more coming up on iOS Today. This episode of iOS Today is brought to you by LinkedIn Learning. Develop talent and keep skills current with expert-led on-demand e-learning. To request a demo for your organization or get a free individual trial, visit learning.linkedin.com/twit. And by Texture, the mobile app that lets you access the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere using your phone or tablet. For your free trial, visit texture.com/twit. Welcome to iOS Today. This is the show where we talk about iPads and Apple Watches and iPhones and Apple TV. Leo Laporte is out this week, but Andy Ihnatko from the Chicago Sun-Times is here with me. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you for welcoming me, and thank you for inviting me. This is going to be so cool. I've always wanted to do iOS Today.
I'm excited to talk to you. I know sometimes you dabble in the world of Android, but I don't judge.
I'm ecumenical. I embrace devices of all faiths and all creeds and religions. So yes, my phone is an Android. I switched from iOS a few years ago, but my primary computer is an iPad. I use iOS stuff all the time.
Well, you know, this show used to be just an iPad show, but we decided to make it all of the iDevices. But, you know, sometimes people say, like, hey, you don't talk about iPad enough. So I'm really excited to talk about all the ways that you use your iPad. Andy, of course, is also one of the hosts of MacBreak Weekly, a longtime Apple pundit, if you will. And I always enjoy doing the keynotes with you, being sassy about everything they announce. But I'm excited to do this show. We should get started. Japanese blog Makotakara. They say that Apple might bring some new iPad Pros next spring. They might announce, this is the rumor from this Japanese blog, including a mini. So this would be exciting to anyone who wants to get the iPad Pro. And, you know, a lot of people still doubt that they can use it. I don't think anyone, there are very few people that say it's completely replaced your MacBook. But you say whenever you go somewhere, it's your perfect away computer. Tell us what you mean by that.
I mean that I have a really good MacBook. I've always had a really good MacBook. But when I leave the house, whether it's for 3 hours to just kip off work at the coffee shop, or I'm going to spend a week in San Francisco, I don't necessarily need the full superset of stuff that I can do on my Mac. I really want something that's not only optimized for travel, so it's slim and light and easy to charge, but also something that really is keyed into the way that I write when I'm on the road. So I don't need to have every single chapter of a book that I'm writing at my fingertips, unless I'm in the last couple of weeks of my deadline. But I do want to take some material with me. I do want to finish up a certain chapter. I do want to write a few columns I can then integrate into something else. And so really, not only does it lighten my load, but it also kind of lightens my cognitive load as well. It really is between split screen kind of limiting me to focus on just two apps at once, to the beauty and the clarity of iOS when projected on that big screen. It really is the best solution. And I can give no better endorsement for the new iOS and for the 12.9-inch iPad than the fact that right now my MacBook is docked. It's got like hard drives and it's got screens and everything like all plugged into it. And it would actually be kind of a big deal for me to detach it and take it with me on my next trip, because it's not likely that I'm ever going to be taking it with me on my next trip. So I absolutely love it.
So you say that the split screen, just limiting yourself to only two apps, is an advantage. That I see that as a disadvantage. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's the way I work is not smart, because I like to have a billion tabs open. I like to have 4 or 5 screens and just be going from one place to another. But maybe that's not the most efficient way to work.
Whichever way works best for you. It's just nice to be able to try these things out. It's just that when I'm kind of on task, all I need to do is I need to have the document that I'm writing, the column that I'm writing, and then I just need to have another column to the left of it that has an outline of all the data that I want to and ideas I want to put into it. And then later on, I'm just doing fact checking, and I want to make sure that I just want to bring in Google search to make sure that I've got something spelled right, or I've got the speed or the price or something right. And it just really helps me just power through this task and just get on to the next one. Whereas, I mean, right now, again, this is my Mac, this is my desktop, and I don't even want to. It would be like an episode of Hoarders if I showed you like a screenshot of all the different apps that are open right now for all the different projects I'm sort of in the middle of today. Whereas when I grab my iPad and go, I'm going to the coffee shop and I'm thinking that, okay, well, I've got a good start on this column, or I'm nearly done with my email. Now I'll just go and get a Danish, get a coffee, and then spend the next 2 hours in this one app. So yeah, it would be difficult if I wanted to try to assimilate data from 4 different apps and then combine it all into like a page layout sort of thing. But that's okay, because that's not what I use that for.
So it's sort of like people might say, like, why don't you just work at home, Andy? Like, why do you have to go to a coffee shop? Like, do you not have internet access? But what you're saying is, like, when you're at home, you might need to make a sandwich or sweep the floor or, weed the garden, but you really want to focus. So you go to a coffee shop and you just have your iPad Pro and not all those apps open on your MacBook, and you can focus.
That too. I mean, that's a different sort of category. Oftentimes, it's nice to leave the scene of the crime occasionally when you work in a home office, because you're going to be in the office. There are times where I do not know that I've been working so hard that I have not left the house, literally not stepped foot out of the house for 2.5 days, until like I look at that little app that says, okay, here's the dots that you have earned for actually walking more than 20 feet. And okay, look, there's Sunday and there's Monday and there's Tuesday. Okie dokie, we are definitely getting on the bike and we are riding 20 miles someplace, even if it's just to get a Diet Dr. Pepper, read one piece of email, then come back again. And it's nice to be out with the humans, to be of the humans. But then like you and I have been in that same sort of boat. I mean, I'm going to be I'm traveling in a couple of days. And it's going to be a combination of like business and pleasure, and I'm going to have to get work done wherever I can find 33 minutes and 32 minutes of stamina at the same time. And so that's the time where you can just haul out an iPad or even an iPad mini, get something done, get at least 33 minutes ahead on wherever you were going to be, and then you got to get to the next briefing or the next meeting or the next event. So yeah, there are things that you can do with these iPads that I don't think I can do as successfully with a MacBook.
Right. And if you're in your hotel, you could watch Westworld on HBO Go if you needed to at night. Same machine. Using picture-in-picture, yes.
Yes. That's another great example. It's like my MacBook lets me do anything I want, as many windows as I want, as many details as I want. When iOS tries to put in multitasking, they realize that I don't necessarily need 5 apps. All I need is 2 apps side by side, and maybe I want to watch a video or watch a TV show while I'm cranking through, trying to get at least down to inbox 1112.
So what about someone who's a MacBook Air user or trying to decide between a MacBook Air and an iPad Pro? What would you say to that person?
Definitely give it a try, especially if you've got the luxury of having a friend who has an iPad who will let you borrow it for a couple of days. Really, most of my job really is doing research, reading lots of research, keeping up with my email, and writing stuff. And then posting my stuff to via email and via CMS systems and that sort of thing. So obviously, anything where it's just typey is a very, very easy thing to do with an iPad. But you'd be surprised at the photo editing, video editing. These things work really, really well. The only thing that will trip you up is that I find that in the years that I've been using an iPad, even before the iPad Pro came out as a primary device, the place where it really falls down is if you're in a situation where you can't really predict what your needs are going to be, because it's still, because of all the sandboxing, it's kind of a pain in the butt still to get arbitrary files on the device and off the device. So you might find yourself in a situation where if you're counting on Dropbox to let you receive a file from somebody and then edit it and then send it on to somebody, And then 2 days later, you find that, oh, I'm in a place where there is no internet access and I don't have access to my shared folders. You're in trouble because you're not going to have the ability to just take a compact flash, an SD card, put it into a slot, or plug a hard drive in and move things around. But if you do have that ability to realize that, okay, I'm not going to be fighting dragons this week. I know that I'm just going to be fighting lions and bears and occasionally a dog that hasn't been fed in 2 or 3 days. You can plan for that. You can make sure that you've got the goods for that. And you'll also might find that the apps that you use and you need on your desktop, there's also an iOS equivalent. For instance, Microsoft Office has done an amazing job translating Microsoft Office into a really important mobile app. There's very little you can do on the desktop that you can't do in iOS. One of my favorite desktop apps, Adobe Lightroom, because I just love taking pictures and editing them. In many ways, it's even more fun editing pictures on Lightroom for iOS because not only are most of the important features there, but also I'm actually mushing my fingers against a color 8x10 glossy photograph that I've just taken and making it look better. Whereas, doing the mousy thing, like, okay, it's working, but it's not like you feel like Jackson Pollock just like literally flinging filters and flinging tone changes onto the thing. If you feel like you need to have a jazz soundtrack following you around as you're doing your editing, so it's a scene. You should definitely try it out. And I appreciate that. And especially a 12.9-inch iPad Pro, that is the cost of a low-end MacBook Air. So definitely there's a cost consideration there. But those of us who you might find that you had an iPad-shaped hole in your heart all along, and this is exactly the right device to patch that hole.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's I talked to Mike Hurley from Relay FM last week, and a lot of the apps that he recommended were similar to the apps that you recommended. And we're not talking about 99-cent apps here. They're $19.99, they're $39.99. But this is your job, this is your work. These are your tools for the paycheck that you get at the end of the day. So that makes more sense than just like the 99-cent app that you're going to use for a little while and not use again. So it makes sense. And the cost of the iPad Pro also makes sense if it helps you get your work done. And I think the touch can't be underestimated. I mean, you talked about Lightroom, but I mean, Touch ID is also really useful, especially if you use LastPass, which I do. It's annoying to have to enter your password in on your MacBook, but if you're using if you're using a device with Touch ID, it's so much easier. I find that was one of the things that I noticed last week when you said we were going to talk about this. I was like, okay, well, I'll try to use this as my machine. And, some things were not as easy, but, it takes getting used to. Yeah. But Touch ID, I was like, oh, yeah, I can just Touch ID into so many apps instead of entering my password, which was nicer.
Yeah, there's just so many little things. Even just such basic things as it gets its power from a lightning connector, which means that not only are you traveling with a power adapter that's really, really tiny, it also means that if you are... there we go. I was using this to power a Raspberry Pi earlier, but yeah, I have one of these like in every one of my laptop bags, and this is like an Anker. This is like a 22,000 milliamp hour battery, which means that if I'm on the road for 2 or 3 days, I don't even necessarily need to care if I ever find an outlet for 2 or 3 days, because this thing can charge it. And it's also the same device that'll charge my phone. It's the same device that's going to charge a bunch of things. So it's not only saving me the bulk of an actual MacBook, it's also saving me the bulk of all the stuff that I have to take with me to power and maintain that MacBook. You're right about the touchscreen. Having Touch ID, again, just touching something and you're signed in, touching something and you've paid for something. I wish I had that on my MacBook. I know it's not as simple as just pasting down a circle of capacitive touch onto a MacBook keyboard, but that's such a great thing. And even just the idea of having multi-touch available to you, I would not have predicted that I'd be using the pencil as a productivity tool, but now I'm in meetings and I still feel it's kind of rude to be typing while you're having essentially like a one-to-one conversation with somebody. But I feel much more natural when I have this big natural sheet of paper and I'm just simply writing notes on it. Even when I'm attending keynotes and press briefings, it's harder for me to move back to a different part because now he's explained something that I was going to ask a question about. But it's easy to just draw a star and then draw an arrow back to something else and scribble something else on the page. And then there's comic books. Oh my goodness. Comic books on a 12.9-inch screen. It's like I've been reading comics since I was a teenager, and never have I read comics as beautiful as I'm reading this on the screen. They're bigger than published pages. They're bright. They're colorful. I can get them without having to ride my 3-speed bicycle after school and get my wheel chalked in some sort of a sewer grate that's been put back in the wrong way. It's just bliss, Megan. It's bliss.
And Comixology is your app of choice?
Yeah, there was a lot of competition when the iPhone first came out. There were 3 or 4 different companies that were jockeying to be comic book digital stores. But Comixology, they made an end run against all of them. They had a really great system. They supported as many platforms as they possibly could, and they managed to finally sign deals with every major publisher now. So just like with iTunes, you don't want to go shop at 4 different stores depending on what you want to buy. This is the one store that has everything. And now Marvel and DC, they're even getting into the game of trying to get as much of their back catalog digitized for Comixology as they can. So if there's a storyline about a kind of a vague character, you find out that, he was really, really important when John Byrne was writing and drawing this comic in 1988. Maybe you'll be able to find it there. But the coolest thing is that you get to the pages are in such high detail that if you're just reading them as is, that'll work just fine. You'll get the full page, but you can squeeze and zoom, and I'm gonna have one big complaint here. Why did Apple delete the orientation physical switch from the side of the thing? Mm-hmm. I don't like that. Anyway, so if you want to get more detail on something, I'm looking for something that's a little bit better. Here we go. Usagi Yojimbo. Okay. So it's not just the. If there's some detail in the back that you really want to get some more information about, you can zoom so deeply into this. I could probably find a better example, but suddenly you're taking this tiny little detail that is barely recognizable on the original art, and you can focus all the way into it. We were talking earlier about going to Comic-Cons, and one of the nicest interactions I ever had with an artist at a con was when I was praising someone for all the detail they put, all the character details. There was on one of these issues, there was a nightstand in the background and all these little objects that were on it, and I couldn't help but zoom in on it and look at all these little objects. And I said, I couldn't believe this. So there's a necklace, and it's made of, yes, I can't believe that someone actually noticed that. I actually got my aunt to send me some of her jewelry from the 60s because it's taking place in the 60s. So let's just say that the benefits of having a 12.9-inch iPad in your life are multi-layered, and the productivity stuff is offset by the super fun stuff as well.
Right. And if anyone needs to pinch and zoom and see the details, it's comic book fans, right? I mean, you got to check to make sure everything's there and accurate so you can comment on it at Comic-Con.
Excuse me, but the ship Excelsior has forward atomic batteries. You have them pointing aftward.
Thank you.
When you will be, could you tell? I look forward to you telling me when you'll be correcting this. I expect to be credited. Yes.
Okay, so the Anchor, let's go back to the Anchor battery. Do you recommend, everyone in the chat room's talking about Anchor batteries, that those are the only ones they use? I have 6 or 7 that I've tried. Is Anchor where you go for backup batteries exclusively?
Yeah, and I can't say this because I have exhaustively tested every single high-capacity battery out there. All I can say is that I still have every high-capacity Anchor battery that I've bought, and every year there's some sort of a deep discount during Black Friday, and I will buy another one to make sure that I have another one for this other piece of kit that I have. And they just keep working. They keep working. They keep doing that wonderful thing where they keep adding features and adding capacity while keeping the price pretty much the same. These super, super high capacity ones, they typically sell at Amazon for $40 or $50. And now the ones that they're coming out with this year, They have 3 ports, not just 2. They have like an extra 10 or 15 or 20% capacity. What I love the most about them is that they're not like rechargeable batteries as you may have grown up to understand them. The internal logic inside these devices, once you've charged them up, you can just toss them in your bag, and if you don't use it for a month, it will still be pretty much at 100% the next time you turn to it. So it's not like it's leaking electrons into the atmosphere. You're keeping this in your bag because you never know when you're going to be caught without charge. And those little lipstick style like power core things, they're nice, but the thing is you'll use them once and then maybe you forget to recharge them, and then you've just got this dead weight that will just raise your hopes 3 weeks later until it was just past you having a little fun with present you saying, aha, you thought that I recharged this. I didn't. I just put the milk back in the fridge with like 2 teaspoons of milk left.
I've been there. So you talk about how the charger is smaller than your big MacBook charger, but you also describe this box of dongles that you have to travel everywhere. Describe your box of dongles, Andy.
Oh goodness, I should have taken it out of the bag with me. Yeah, it's like. Realize that there's just one. There's a lightning port, and there is for now a headphone jack, and that's it. Anything else you want to do with this thing to make it act like your laptop, you're gonna have to pay $20 to $40 for a dongle, and make sure you've got the damn thing on you. So I've got a dongle for video. I've got a dongle for add a USB port so I can bring in photos from my camera. I got a dongle for Ethernet. I got a dongle so I can attach a keyboard and a keyboard to it. So yeah, I've got like 4 or 5 of these things, and God help me if I'm missing any one of them. I probably have 3 different display adapters, actually 3 copies of the same display adapter, because of every single time over the past 4 or 5 years that I brought it with me all the way to Colorado, but I somehow forgot to bring it with me from my hotel room in Colorado to the venue where I'm going to be speaking in Colorado. And so I had to like stop off have someone like drop me off at an Apple store to buy my 2nd or 3rd or 4th $40 VGA adapter because it's certainly not going to be built in, and it was your own fault for keeping the damn thing in your suitcase where it didn't belong.
Well, I was going to do this with you, but I decided to wait until next week because we had so much to talk about. But I saw on CNET there's a way to make a dongle holder that you can put on your keychain for the iPhone 7 dongle, so you can use your old headphones. But it sounds like you'd have like a custodian's keychain if you put all your dongles on your keychain.
I would prefer to be a Chewbacca style bandolier, but
you should do that for sure.
Oh God, it's. No kidding. It's like it used to be just, okay, got 2 or 3 just in this pouch in my laptop bag. And then it had to be, I have a little bag for it. And then I had to get a little plastic box to keep it. So because now I have to rummage through it like I'm looking for a Phillips head screwdriver in a toolbox. I will during the commercial go grab it because it is quite the thing of glory right now. Okay.
Well, Dongle would be an excellent Halloween costume if anyone's perfect. Well, Andy, I want to talk about all your apps that you use. You have so many that you use for productivity. I would love to talk about the specific apps, and we're going to do that. But first, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor, LinkedIn Learning. If you're watching this right now, I am going to guess that you like to learn things. I know I do. I am a podcast addict, and if you're listening, I hope you are too. LinkedIn Learning is a way to get your listening and learning in at one place. This episode of iOS Today is brought to you by LinkedIn Learning. Now, they say that the shelf life of skills is less than 5 years, and so many of the fastest growing categories didn't even exist 5 years ago. LinkedIn Learning has personalized, expert-led, on-demand e-learning from LinkedIn. You can keep your team engaged. So this is great for teams, great for organizations. LinkedIn Learning is the perfect way to promote professional development. LinkedIn Learning will identify the precise skills you or your organization needs to achieve set goals, and they'll create personalized recommendations using LinkedIn Network Intelligence. Your team will have access to more than 9,000 courses, and over 25 courses are added every single week. Their library includes courses taught by world-class industry experts. They cover topics ranging from leadership skills to design principles and programming. You can learn anytime, anywhere with bite-sized segments that can be used on any device, online and off. So we were talking about using your iPad Pro wherever you are. This is a great way to use LinkedIn Learning to learn more while you're at the coffee shop. The bite-sized videos provide immediate problem solving and can be downloaded to learn on the go. It's a perfect way to help team members close a skills gap without interrupting your latest project. Team solutions are available for as little as $2,000. Grow your network and your career. Visit learning.linkedin.com/twit. You can request a demo for your organization or get a free individual trial. That's learning.linkedin.com/twit. And we thank LinkedIn Learning for their support of iOS today. So do you have your bandolier, Andy?
Actually, well, so I can actually, it's even worse than that. So this is the dongle box.
Ooh.
So that's from which there is a subset. This is the travel edition of the dongle box. So here's what I actually travel with. I will admit that one or two of these I think are for my Android phone, but only remember the Android phone lets you connect all kinds of other cool stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, here is the high-speed USB and power dongle. Here is the USB camera dongle. Here is the SD card reader dongle. This is the goodness. I'm glad I showed this to you. I thought I don't have a video dongle here. I'm gonna have to go get another one of these. But yes, and then for the Android stuff, I only have this one USB-C card reader. But now I'm gonna have to go get a headphone jack dongle to add to the menagerie. So I'm actually now shopping for like a larger little box. I might have to go from the Altoids size to the Sucrets size box now.
You know what you might have you ever seen This Is Ground, their stuff?
No.
I think Leo might have showed it on a Mac Break Weekly. They have it's like the tech DOP kit. You know, we showed it on this show.
Oh.
They're not cheap, but they're leather, and you can hook them, all your dongles and your cords and your headphones. They all fit in there. So check that out. This is Ground. So I think you were keeping your dongle box is actually a card, like a library card box. What are those called?
This is card catalog box.
Catalog box.
Yeah, this is a. I last year I managed to finally take advantage of a lifelong dream, which is to actually, the Boston Public Library was getting rid of a whole bunch of their old vintage card catalog boxes, and so basically they just looking there's a nominal price for them, and they were just looking to get rid of them, and so in the other side of my office I have card catalogs that have all my cables organized. There's a drawer for my lightsabers. There's a drawer for network connectors. And I'm telling you, the first time that I needed my short tape measure, and I was able to simply walk to this panel and pull open a drawer labeled measuring things and find it, I felt like I was a man for the very first time, or at least a grown up for the very first time. Because the number of times I've bought another tape measure or another pair of scissors because it was easier just to postpone the task for 2 days and just have Amazon deliver one than to find it. But yes, I'm pretty happy with that.
That's a good tip. As libraries get rid of their card catalog system, as they throw away the Dewey Decimal System, it's to your advantage. See what you can get on Craigslist or whatever, and it looks like a good way to organize stuff.
Pretty damn awesome.
All right, well, let's start with Scrivener. This is one of the apps that you recommended. It's $19.99, but as we said before, this is for real productivity, for real work, so you think the $20 price is totally worth it. Tell us how you use Scrivener.
Scrivener is amazing because was my favorite desktop word processor. Okay, I will not get all these dongles back in the box.
No.
I'm going to put this aside. I can
back
do that later. Sorry. The great thing about Scrivener is that it's not like a conventional word processor where it's for I'm going to start a document, I'm going to finish a document, it's going to save it as a file, and I'm done. It really is for writing projects that are projects. So it allows you to have one document that organizes all the chapters in a book together, or in my case, I have every single Chicago Sun-Times column in one document. And then I also have in the same document all the research and all the notes that I have. And I can just keep all this stuff up to date and organized and kind of chip at these larger projects until I find myself, through no fault of my own, nearly done with this and having a complete project that's well researched, well factoided, and then when I'm done, it appreciates that the writing process and the publishing process or the sharing process are two totally different things. So it doesn't impose any structure on it until I tell it at the end what I want it to be. So if I want to take this book and now I want to export it as a single Microsoft Word document that's formatted as chapters and subheadings and footnotes, it'll spit that out for me. If I want it to generate it as web pages, or if I want it to generate it as an ebook, it can do that as well. There's just nothing it can't do. It really is the heavy diesel-powered tool that you need a Class C writing license before they'll let you actually use it, because it's just that powerful. If there's so much work I've done that I would not have been able to do if it not for the ability of Scrivener to let me just take a simple idea and write it down and then just play with it and develop it and expand it. I've got this one research project that I don't even know what I'm going to write about it, but I've been researching this topic for 2 or 3 years, and now I've got this Scrivener binder that's full of timelines and photos and documents that I've scanned in and notes and conjectures I've made. And at some point, it's like when the slightly OCD TV screwed up forensic detective is unshaven and unwashed and looking at that big wall of all these pictures tacked up with all this yellow yarn that's connecting things randomly, and suddenly says, aha! That's what Scrivener lets you do. It lets you organize all this sort of stuff. And so it was kind of heartbreaking when I started using the iPad, and there was nothing similar to there's no version of Scrivener for the iPad, nor was there anything kind of similar to it. So I actually had to stop using it for a year or two because it was really because the iPad was such an important part of my workflow. They finally, after a lot of hard work that shows in the final product, finally finished it and released it this year. And it really is one of the finest iOS apps, maybe one of the finest mobile apps of any kind I've ever seen. I have never seen a desktop app translated so brilliantly and so cunningly to a mobile environment without taking away anything that makes that app special, nor misunderstanding the point of why I am carrying an iPad with me and not a MacBook with me. So yeah, if I have any coherent and cogent thoughts in print, it's due to Scrivener and the fact that it's available on iOS and it supports split screen, it supports every single iOS 9, 10 feature. Is I owe a great debt to Scrivener. I was happy to. I beta tested it, plus they sent me a code for review, but this is one of those cases where I'm not even going to wait. I'm just going to buy it for myself because I just want this person to have more money.
So you buy it on even if you already own it on the MacBook, you buy the app separately. Yeah,
it's about a $40 app on the desktop. It's also available for Windows, and it's about a $20 app for iOS. And actually, I am very, very pleased when a developer charges something akin to real money for an app, because number one, I really want to the most powerful way to express your thanks to a creative person for the work that they've done that you value is to say, not just say, I really love your work, but also say, I love your work, here's some money. so that even if they just buy a cup of coffee and a muffin, it makes me feel good to know that I paid for that cup of coffee and that muffin. And also, if you're paying real money for this, there's a good chance that they will be able to continue to support it in the years to come. It's these $1.99 apps that have a big fan base, but they're really not. They're really taking too much time away from somebody's family and someone's paying work for them to support it. So you just got to support it.
So speaking of paying for apps, do you think do you prefer the $20 lump sum versus a subscription service? I mean, do you see Scrivener going towards a subscription service, and would you use it if they did?
It's hard to say. I've seen apps that really it felt like they were sticking it to me. There was a really good Parallels Access, which is one of the nicest VNC remote access programs for the iPad. But when they first released it, it was something like a subscription fee of something like $80 or $90 a year. And you're going to have a hard time, sir, trying to get $90 worth of value out of your app for me for year after year after year. I thought that was ridiculous. On the other hand, I felt kind of all rumbly inside when Photoshop went to a subscription model. But I have to admit that they backed that up by saying you'll be paying $10 a month for Photoshop and Lightroom, but we're going to continue to update it not just every year, but month after month after month, and you'll just simply magically find that you have this wonderful new feature in the toolkit that you didn't have to pay any money for. And if it also allows, particularly for these high-end creative apps, if it allows people who are just starting out to use Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects to get professional level results and let them pay only $40 or $60 to use that app for the 2 or 3 months their project is going to be in play, instead of having to find $800 to buy the full CD set. All power to them. But yeah, in general, I'm if I have the ability to simply give you a pile of money, I'm more satisfied with that than anything else. Although under no circumstance, if I give you money, you are never going to give me a pop-up that asks me to rate your app in the App Store. You're never going to do that. Once I give you money, you lose the entitlement to ask me to rate your app.
All right. Well, how about OmniOutliner? That's another app that you use. This one's $29.99. What do you use OmniOutliner for?
OmniOutliner it's the beauty of and simplicity of an outline. It's just a container for any data and any thoughts you want to put into it. So there are most of my more complicated columns and reviews and stuff start off life as an OmniOutliner outliner, and they just start off as just a bunch of random thoughts. And because you can then just simply drag to put these thoughts in a better order and to hoist them and demote them so that they really seem to have a flow, that's how you quickly get to the heart of what it is you want to explain. And then there's times where I'm just taking furious notes while something live is happening. And again, I don't know what the structure of this is going to be, but I just need to write these things down. If I write it in an OmniOutliner outline, then I know that I can impose a structure on it later, and it will accept URLs, it'll accept files, it'll accept images. Really, it is just it's like a hammer, where it's not defined by the function that it achieves, but by really, it's just a tool that if you want to put impact on a certain thing, you use this thing. OmniOutliner is if you want to manipulate data in a useful way, even if it involves sharing it with lots of people, you want to use OmniOutliner. And part of what makes it brilliant and part of what makes it worth the money that I spent on it is that it's just so beautifully done. It's such a pretty piece of software. And it just gets out of my way from start to finish. And it's one of the most beautiful apps to use in the sidebar of a large iPad, because I will have Scrivener taking up most of my 12.9-inch screen, but then I'll have that one little column that's an OmniOutliner document on the side that's reminding me that, remember when you were waiting for that train and it occurred to you that you were wrong to begin with, and really the whole point is to make sure that you hit this point at some point. Oh, good, I forgot all about that, because I was able to just simply jot that down at a moment's thought, and then 4 days later get at it very, very quickly. It means that it comes across less as a rambling rant from a warped, frustrated, burned out old man who has seen technology pass him by and is scared of being left behind in the dust, and more like a seasoned Obi-Wan-like figure who has seen much in his lifetime and has much wisdom to impart. Again, that I have so much that I owe to OmniOutliner for just keeping my brain working in a linear fashion.
So, you talk about using the split screen and keeping things on the side. I know when split screen first came out, when we first got the iPads, there were a lot of apps that didn't work. They didn't work in split screen. Has that now been solved? Do most apps work in split screen?
A surprising number of them don't, and that kind of honks me off, because making sure that your app can work alongside other apps, it makes your app look good. It makes me use your app more. So when I'm using like Google Hangouts, which is one of my most frequently used chat apps, and I have to go to full screen anytime I want to use it, oh boy, it feels like 2010, 2011. The 2011 wasn't a bad year for me, but it's like, oh my God, it's bad. It's 2011 all over again. Why? This is supposed to be 2016 where we can have side-by-side apps. So yeah, it's most of the good ones, certainly most of the ones that you pay money for, the developers get it. But it's shocking when you see a company like Google decide that a chat app on a mobile device should not share space with other apps. That's kind of weird.
The other thing I have trouble with is, like, I don't know how to. I have all of these apps in my side view. Is that what this is called? This side thing. How do I get this one out? How do I get it to go away? Do you know?
I don't believe you can. I think that it's showing. I think that it's showing you. It's a launcher that works the way that the main launcher does. It's showing you all the apps that can operate in some sort of a split screen view. Actually, I've never tried to delete them because I didn't realize that. I never thought that it was even possible. Oh. Because it's not. It's just like installed apps on iOS, where if I can't remove apps from my regular Springboard, what makes you think that Apple would let you have the power to remove it from the sidebar there? Good point. But yeah, it's there to show you, here are the apps that are available to you in this view.
Good point. Well, I had one of them almost pulled up. Notability. This was we talked about this last week. Mike Hurley also. This was one of his picks. I let you guys have one crossover. That's it. But Notability for taking notes. What do you use Notability for?
It really is there as my notepad for things that have to be kind of analog rather than digital. I've actually started using it, as I mentioned before, when I'm on a phone briefing or even when I'm at a live keynote event. I tend to want to use it, take my notes with a pencil, with Notability, only because my brain isn't. It's so hard for my when I'm now like 2 sentences behind whatever's being said, and now they're talking about clock rates and what methods they use for testing, and it's really important that I write something down before they move on to the next thing. It's so easy for me to just write it down with a pen in whatever piece of white space is on that screen, than to, is it Alt-Shift-Tab, and then, oh damn it, I just deleted an entire paragraph. But then there's also stuff where you have ideas that you can't really figure out until you start playing with them by drawing. There's this weird project that I've been working on or at least I've been giving some headspace to for the past like several weeks, and it's a device that I want to build, and I'm really sort of fixated on what should the physical form be, and so I'm certainly not going to be able to do that in an OmniOutliner outline because it's all visual. And this lets me play with different ideas. Where should it open up like a book? Should it yesterday, I suddenly had this weird idea that maybe the screen should open up like an SX70, like an SX70 camera. And so I was able to simply just sketch that out, see how that would look like, and just remember that this was one of the ideas I was playing with. And really, it's getting back to hammers. Once you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Once you have a device that is like a digital sketch pad that will save and archive everything you draw to it, and so it doesn't just go away the next time you empty out your wastebasket, you tend to look for ways to use this tool, particularly this tool you spent $1,100 for as a pre-order. But yeah, you find that there's so many things you can do with it. I mean, it gets back to why it's not as though I was unaware of the availability of the MacBook Air. I've had these things on loan every time a new one comes out for a month or two, and I'll out of a sense of obligation and duty, I will use it for real work for a couple of weeks. And it always made me think that, oh, geez, maybe I should get one of these because it's so nice to be able to travel with just this little 11-inch MacBook Air. Maybe I should just really think about it. But the thing that always talked me out of it was that I already have a 13-inch notebook that isn't that big and it isn't that heavy. If I am going to buy a new computer that's designed that's just to cover the problem of I need something that is ultra portable to travel with, I wanted to do something more than just be a notebook. And it's a comic book reader, it's an art sketch tool. 2 days ago, I was sent a PDF of a loan agreement for some hardware that I was loaned for a review, and I was able to simply get out the pencil, fill it out, sign it, and then send it back right from where I was. It just keeps proving its worth to me over and over again in ways that no $1,100 notebook ever could, or at least for me.
Well, let's talk about the keyboard that you use. This is the Logitech Create, which I don't love the color. You can see it's like gotten pretty dirty in the past. I think I've only had this for about a year. It feels really plasticky. I know they've improved it for the 9.7, and the 9.7 Logitech Create has a backlit keyboard, but for the Pro they don't. So what keyboard do you use?
I use a keyboard that, there it is. I lost it by putting it on its shelf where it belongs. I use the Logitech K811, which is just magnificent. It's in many ways it's even better than the keyboard I've got on my MacBook. So it is. It's not even that expensive. It's about $70, $80, but it's got these really good. Logitech invested in these really nice custom switch designs. That's really, really easy to use. It's rechargeable, which I like, because I can always, since I always have a battery pack with me, if I run out of power, if I get a low power thing in 3 weeks, after 3 weeks of use, I can easily top it off with this. I might not necessarily be able to find AA batteries wherever I am, but they're illuminated, so they will glow when on command. They've got all the media function keys, and it has that really cool thing that I love about modern Bluetooth keyboards, that they can be paired with 3 different devices simultaneously. So I will be like in my hotel room, and I will be writing, and it's connected to my iPad, and then a text message will come in from somebody who's trying to adjust the times for a meeting that we're supposed to have tomorrow, and then I just simply press the button number 2, and now it's connected to my phone, and so now I can actually type full sentences in response to these text messages. I just absolutely love it. I love the feel of it. I love the size of it. It's the perfect heft. Pretty much the perfect size, and I just don't leave it's a superior experience to me than any docked keyboard solution I found commercially. I do also have the Apple keyboard cover, and it's nice for what it is. It's designed to be the most compact, the flattest keyboard you can possibly get, and it's perfectly fine for most writing. But oftentimes, I'm in a hotel room, and I've got 4 hours to write 3,000 words, and it's not going to happen on a piece of fabric over a couple of a field of blisters. So I really want something that's as good as what I would have on my desktop at home, and this is darn near it.
And you don't mind that it doesn't work with a smart connector?
No, not at all. Because Bluetooth is it's not as bad as the worst case scenarios typically turn out to be. All I got to do is I switch it on, and it remembers that the last thing I was talking to was my iPad. My iPad is already out on the table. It will find it, and by the time I've put the keyboard exactly where I want it on the table, it's already connected to it, and it's ready to go. So it's not a big deal. And for the record, just last night I was hauling out the keyboard cover, and for some reason it didn't settle into the pogo studs correctly, and so I had to undock it from the keyboard dock, redock it again to get it to seat properly. Nothing works perfectly, but I think that the Bluetooth keyboards work perfectly fine for me.
As long as we're talking about Bluetooth, you mentioned earlier that the iPad Pro has a headphone jack for now. Is there something you know about that? Like, have you heard that they're going to be taking the headphone jack away from the iPads?
Oh, I don't know. It's like if one of the I'm not being sarcastic when I say that this is one of Apple's real strengths. They have the ability to do whatever they want to do, and that's not something that any other hardware maker has the ability to do. So if they really decide that, not as a point of engineering or manufacturing, but simply as a point of dogma, that analog headphone jacks are bad news, and the faster we get rid of them, the better. They will just simply decide to unilaterally remove them from everything. I don't think they're going to do that on the iPad, but it's certainly something that I've been thinking about. As a matter of fact, this is the first podcast I've done with my brand new Bluetooth headphones.
Oh.
I bought a brand new pair last week because I knew that I was going to be working on my review of the new iPhone. And so, because I have never been one of these people who I've always been a wired headphone guy, particularly when I'm on the move. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to take the cure. I'm gonna have to spend an entire month never using wired headphones except when I'm plugging in the pair that came free with the iPhone to test them out. So yeah, these are going to be my headphones for the next month, and I'm just going to have to deal with that.
What brand are they, and do you like them so far?
I like them so far. They are. I decided that I wanted it to be as consumer-ish as an experience as possible. So even though I was spending my own money for these, I didn't want to spend like 3 weeks like talking to engineers and figuring out what's on the horizon, what's going to be released soon. So as usual, when I'm in that kind of position, I started with the Wirecutter roundup of wireless exercise headphones.
Oh, are they the Plantronics?
No. They are the JLab Epic 2 Bluetooth Bluetooth headphones. I didn't want to have over-the-ear cans because when I take my usual wired headphones, I just wrap them up, put them in a plastic bag, and put them in a pocket. I can't walk around with these cans around my neck, and I can't walk around with this big bag around me. So I wanted something like that. I'm liking them a lot so far. It's one of the reasons why I went ahead and bought them is that I like the specs that I saw about them. They have 12-hour battery life. Wirecutter's reviews said that we definitely got that out of it. I like the fact that they had a first edition last year that had some problems. Because in a conscientious company, that means that, okay, now that we have sold tens of thousands of pairs, we know where the weaknesses in the first design were, and we can correct them for the second design. They have it comes with a couple of almost a dozen different types of little earbuds inside them, so that you can just if you don't get the sound you like or the fit you like, you just will spend the first evening going through that long march of, okay, we take out the ones that look like mushrooms, we put in the ones that look like electrical insulators, let's see if those work. And so I finally found the pair that I like. The only thing I really don't like about them is something I really can't blame them for. Most mass market headphones seem to be optimized for regular like pop music. A lot of the stuff I listen to is some of my favorite records are opera, and nothing can really stand up to opera, and neither can these. But they fit really well. They're tiny. Don't say anything because I can't hear you for the next bit. They weigh next to nothing. This little controller, it's easy to find behind your ear, and they're easy to control. Comes with a nice case. $100, which I thought was about the right amount of money to spend for this kind of a test. Basically, I wanted to make sure that if my complaint was that these Bluetooth headphones stink because they keep disconnecting and the sound is terrible. I didn't want it because I got some no-name China knockoff that cost $10. But I'm liking them so far. There's only day 2 or day 3, but it's. I don't think I'm going to hate them at the end of the month. And
now, would you ride them biking, or is that too dangerous?
I never wear headphones when I'm biking. As a matter of fact, I did buy from eBay. That's where I bought the cheapo Chinese Bluetooth speaker that I literally just have duct tape. Gaffer's tape that's taped it to the handlebars, and so I just have this loudspeaker just like blaring podcasts. Maybe not blaring, but okay. But yeah, I certainly don't want to have anything blocking my ears when I'm biking. I don't even particularly like having them blocking when I'm walking. But it's a good deal.
I think blaring is fine. You're going by fast, so it's like the siren. It's like you're here, you're there.
What I don't like is that I got the black ones. I should have gotten like the hot pink or the hot blue ones, because the great thing about conventional headphones, in addition to all the things that I insisted were the reasons why I didn't want Apple to get rid of the headphone jack, is that there are visible. They're a visible flag to everybody on the train or on the subway that, oh wait, that guy has got his like white flag of surrender to. It's like the white flag of surrender to social intercourse, saying, "Oh no, he's not going. If I try to strike up a conversation with him, he's not going to hear me because look, he's wearing his headphones." Whereas I could just be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm listening to really anything that I'd like to listen to, other than have a conversation about your daughter's lack of ambition for beauty school." Right.
Well, if you have $900 burning a hole in your pocket, the Parrot Zeek Zeke, not Zika. That would not be good branding. Zeke, Barrett's Zeke Bluetooth headphones. They sound great. I haven't listened to them with Opera, but I bet they would sound fantastic and nobody would bother you on the subway.
They're cool. I keep getting. I wish I were the sort of person who could appreciate a really expensive pair of headphones. I'm just not. Our friend Serenity Caldwell was over the moon about her new Bose wireless headphones with the noise cancellation. I thought maybe I should try those out, like $300. It's a reasonable amount of money for people who love music. I just like $300. Do you know how much these cost me? I went to Amazon, not even on sale. They were $15.
Yeah, I think we come.
And then if you wait
same.
for them to be on sale, they're $12.
Exactly.
$300. I'm telling you, these people who are 12 years younger than me.
Well, we got
I grew up 12 years closer to the Great Depression than they did. Right. My parents didn't live through it, but their parents did.
Exactly. Yeah, you grew up with parents or grandparents that stuck the free bread in their purse on the way out. That's those of us will never ever pay $900 for headphones. We have some email that I would like to read. Glenn wrote, I was watching iOS Today with Georgia Dow. I noticed you guys talked about Siri a lot with HomeKit. Do you know if all or most HomeKit devices require voice command? This could be a true challenge for people with significant speech impairments, such as myself. Any insight? So we get a lot of accessibility questions. I love getting them. I love knowing that you guys are listening or watching, but we don't always know how to answer them. Because we don't. But thankfully, Glenn has cerebral palsy, and Kevin Berg is a friend of the show. He came to see the show last week with his family, and he is an IT guy who also has cerebral palsy, and he said, if you ever have questions, feel free to ask. So I sent him this question, and Glenn answers. If anyone else has had this issue or concerns with being able to use Siri, Kevin wrote, I do use HomeKit. I found that the Home app and the Home panel and Control Center, both features of iOS 10, work quite well with just touch interactions. A good tip is to long press on icons of accessories to bring up more options for that accessory. For example, just tapping on the icon for my lights turns them off or on, but long pressing, or I'm guessing pressing harder on a device that supports 3D touch, the icon brings up a slider that acts as a dimmer along with a button to change the color of the lights. It's kind of one of those hidden features that you have to find for yourself. A great free third-party HomeKit app is Hesperus, which has a notification center widget you can enable. Unfortunately, Siri really can't be trained for people with speech impairments. I wish you could just type queries for Siri to interpret rather than just the Spotlight search. Do you have any experience with Hesperus, Andy?
No, I'm only in the architecture behind HomeKit, and one of the more ambitious and more helpful things about it is that it's not just a way to connect Siri to home devices. It's a way to connect devices to devices. So as new assistive devices come on the market or are developed with Internet of Things devices in mind, you might find that you can have like a hand controller that can interact with the lights of the house or the heating of the house just as adequately as speech can. So the people who work on some of the most interesting and enlightening conversations I ever have, I'm sure you're the same way, are with people who work with assistive technologies, because there are components to making computers work for everybody that I just am completely ignorant about, because I don't see the world through the eyes and the ears and the sense of touch and the speech that other people interact with the world with. It doesn't occur to me that you need to have a way of adjusting the colors of a display so that colorblind people are not going to miss an important alert because they can't see the difference between a red alert and a green button someplace else. And the more they talk about it, the more you want to really douse that ignorance inside your head. When I was shown really with the possibilities of not just Apple's accessibility controls for HomeKit, but also what Google is doing, also what Amazon is working on for Alexa, it's like, wow, I'm glad that people with better brains than mine are working hard on this.
Exactly. Yeah, we had this question about Alexa earlier in the year. I probably shouldn't say her name so much. Mine is set to Echo, so I don't think about it. But and someone was saying, could I train the Amazon Echo to my voice if I have a speech impairment? And it turns out you can't really that well either. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but hopefully there will be a change in that soon.
Yeah.
So
you can. There's some people who do a few hacks that, if you look in the, for instance, the contact listings for pretty much yourself and everybody else, there is not only the actual correct spelling, but there's actually usually a slot for the phonetic spelling of it. So what I've heard some people do is intentionally fill that with the way that they tend to pronounce something to sort of smooth the way. That's not a universal solution, but it certainly a couple years ago, that's something that I wasn't aware of until I looked and said, oh, wow, you can actually, now I understand why you'd have to have a phonetic pronunciation for speech recognition. So these things are supposed to be very customizable.
Conky in the chat room says he saw a reference to the Parrot Zeek for $300. I think that's probably, or $400, $399. So that's probably accurate. Sorry, I said there were $900. I'm in that stage where sometimes 400 and 900 seems 400 seems too much. So you might as well say they're $1 million.
And I've been offered a loan of like $1,900 headphones, and I said, I don't know, please don't put those in my house because I'll fall asleep with them and then I'll have to buy a $1,900 pair of headphones because I broke them.
Exactly. Well, we have another email from Matt Schultz. He writes, it's funny how our expectations about battery life on a smartwatch have been modified over the last 2 years. When the Apple Watch first came out, the complaint was that you would need to bring a charger to work so you would last the day. But on yesterday's show, Megan commented matter-of-factly that you should buy a second charger so you can charge the watch at work. I guess over time, expectations become adjusted to match reality. Personally, I'm waiting for the new Pebble watches that will allow me to leave the charger at home. As a bonus, I will not be tied to any mobile OS. Now, Andy, I forget, do you wear an Apple Watch?
No, because exactly the reason that he said, you have to have an iPhone in order to use it. I switched from my Android phone, as a matter of fact, for the entire summer of last year because I needed to write stuff about the Apple Watch, and I felt like it was such a subtle new technology that I couldn't do it dipping in and out of the place. And that's the biggest shame, I think. I just got a Fitbit Charge 2, the new one that just came out. I just got that in the office last week. And one of the things I love about it is that it doesn't matter if you have an Android device or an iPhone or anything. It will work with pretty much everything. Same thing with the Pebble devices. I think that I do feel as though the Android Wear watches, I think that they've got the most insightful point of view on what a smartwatch should do and what the relationship between the watch and the user are. But once again, it's so reliant on Android technologies that unless you want to be limited to just notifications and the time of day, it's not going to be of much use to someone who uses an iPhone. So I really wish that things were opened up. Meanwhile, $150 will buy you a so-called fitness watch that will also deliver not only device flexibility, but the majority of the features that most people right now are really responding to, which is simply notifications and even notifications, fitness, and a couple of really, really quick connectivity stuff like calendars and stopwatches and reminders.
Well, I have had problems with my battery life on my Apple Watch basically since I got it. I have the smaller one, and I usually work out most days about an hour, sometimes more, and my battery lasts sometimes not until the end of the day. So I was looking to see, because a lot of people don't have this problem. It usually makes it to the end of the day, and I found some ways. There was a Fortune article on how to improve the battery life on your watch, and it really has. It's lasted to the end of the day. So I'm amazed because I've had it over a year now. But one of the things you can do is turn off background app refresh. So that's in the settings. If you show my screen, I think. So you go to settings, general, and background app refresh, and turn it off. I had that on, and it really just helped. I think there was another. Let's see, what else did I say that I did? Let's see. I had some other tips that I did. Oh, turn on reduce motion, which is interesting because we were just talking about, I'm sure you've heard this tip, Andy, with iOS 10. If you If people weren't seeing like the lightning or the you probably, I don't know how much you use iMessage, but people weren't seeing the balloons or the lasers or all that, and they turned off reduce motion, and so they turned on reduce motion and they could see them. So I turned off reduce motion on my watch, and I turned on reduce transparency. I turned that off too, and that made my watch last till the end of the day. So if you're having issues,
That's one of the many reasons why these fitness watches, they will absolutely kick butt in battery life. They will last for days and days and days. You can easily sleep with it for several days and get the benefits of the sleep tracking. And one of the reasons why, not only are they using lower power chips because there's a much less heavy lifting, but we kind of forget how much processing is involved to anti-alias text, to add a drop shadow, to make those transitions when one screen moves off to the left side of the screen and another screen comes in behind it, to produce the acceleration, to produce the animation. There's something, it looks beautiful, but yeah, that's the reason why your watch is dying at 9:30 p.m. when you're waiting for your Uber to show up, and why other watches are going on for 2 or 3 days.
Exactly. Well, after the break, we're going to do our app cap. Andy has an app that he loves. I have a new app that I love. But first, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor of this episode, Texture. If you have one of those giant piles of magazines sitting by your bed that eventually you were going to read at least 3, maybe 4 articles in each one of them, but really they're just taking up a bunch of space. And let's be honest, they're a huge fire hazard. You should try Texture. Texture is a way to binge read magazines. When it comes to magazines, you know what you like. With Texture, you'll get all the magazines you want in one convenient place. They've completely reimagined the magazine reading experience. They go beyond offering the same magazines you get on newsstands. With Texture, you get unlimited access to over 200 of the world's best magazines you know and love, plus exclusive features and videos from magazines like Men's Health, Wired, and Interview. It's easy to remain culturally curious with top stories and new and noteworthy sections updated daily in the Texture app. You can even read the magazines offline. Just download to read anytime, anywhere on your smartphone or your tablet. Texture's editorial team has made it easy to find articles you care about. Simply star your favorite magazines to add them to your personal library. Now, you can access Texture on up to 5 devices per account, so you can easily share your subscription with your family. Chances are you do not read the same magazines as everyone in your family, but they can access all of those magazines. They can, on their own device, and read what they want, and they don't have to read what you like to read. Or you can make them read cooking magazines, and maybe your children will cook for you. It's one idea. Texture.com/twit. Sign up and get your free trial today. You'll gain access immediately to all of the top magazines, including back issues and bonus video content. You can try Texture for free right now. Go to texture.com/twit. And we thank Texture for their support of iOS today. This is our app cap, our favorite apps. We wear caps because caps rhymes with app. And go.
Okay, we talked earlier about how much of a bummer it is that so many obvious apps don't support the new iOS properly. So here is, for instance, YouTube, and you would think that, assume that this YouTube video is playing. Yes, and you would think that this would be obvious for picture-in-picture, but YouTube does not support picture-in-picture. If you were to try to swipe to another direction, it will share the screen, but it will not go down into the middle. But then Clever Boots developer came up with this idea where, hey, I can just simply open up the YouTube URL in the standard iOS video player, which does support picture-in-picture. So what you can do is you can basically, when you got a YouTube video you want to watch, you somehow get the use copy link to put the link into the clipboard, and then if you swipe down and go to this widget over here, you will see a PipTube widget that says watch video, and then if you hit, see, it's already got the URL for that already, Great British Bake Off. Tap it, and it will indeed.
Do you need to tap it again?
If your heart is pure. There he is. And now it's playing that exact same video in the standard video player. And now you have it as God intended, as a picture-in-picture presentation. So that's nice. I can't believe that this isn't something that the standard Google YouTube player will let you do. I am bummed out that they haven't figured that out here just to prove that. There we go. Just to prove that it's actually doing picture-in-picture. Yes, see? And so given how much time I spend watching videos that are on YouTube, odd thing, apparently the Great British Bake Off is already in the public domain, even though it was only aired a week ago. Well, anyway, but yes, it solves a big problem in my life because there's so much content that I watch on YouTube. This is like my standard thing when I'm just churning through email. I'll be watching Ben Heck cut an Atari in half and make it into a wristwatch and stuff like that over the next hour. So really, I was very happy to send that person the $2 or whatever he was asking for it.
Yeah, I think
PIPTUBE.
I think it's $3.99, but yeah,
$3.99, even better.
Well, my favorite app of the week is Pocket Cast, which is not new, but I was using Overcast, which is only audio podcasts. It's not video podcasts. And then he suddenly switched to adding ads. And of course, as we talked before, if you love someone's work, you should pay for it. And I totally agree with that. But I thought before I buy Overcast, I'm going to see what else is out there and really fits my needs. And I realized that Pocket Cast was much better. First of all, you could watch video podcasts, but you could also you can have different playlists of, look through the podcasts that are in progress, and you can look through the podcasts that are new releases, and you can do a few other things too. The other thing that is great is you can sync it. So I don't usually listen to podcasts on my iPad Pro. I usually listen to them on my phone, but I just installed it on my iPad, and now it's syncing. So it has all of the episodes and all the podcasts that I subscribe to. I have a little bit of an addiction, actually. So what podcast app do you use, Andy?
I use the exact same one. I love it for the reasons that you specified. It's truly a multi-platform app. So it doesn't matter that I listen to podcasts on my iPad, on the Apple TV, on the iPad or on my Android device. Also, for an extra fee, you can even get access to a web-based player. So any computer you have that runs in any way a modern browser, it will have all your subscriptions. If you start, it will remember which ones you've listened to, which ones you haven't listened to. All your custom playlists will be there. It really is just a super, super class act. And I'm not just saying that because I do a podcast with with Russell Ivanovich, one of the makers of the app, every week.
I did not know that. I love it. Yeah, I mean, you can search by networks. So, Twit's in there, Relay FM. You can, it's podcast discovery is so hard, right? I mean, everyone just thinks to go to iTunes. It's really hard to find great stuff, I think, on iTunes. So, I mean, just super easy to subscribe. What's the podcast that you do every week with him?
It's called Material, and I do it with her and Yasmin Evgen, which is a Google themed podcast. As you can guess, tomorrow we're going to be very, very busy. Okay.
Yes, you are. Thank you for coming on, even though tomorrow you're... Okay, I am now subscribed to Material. Thank you. And you can create playlists, your own playlists as well. I created this one, was just only iOS today. But I really love it because I just listen to... So I subscribe to so many podcasts. It's an addiction. It's a problem I have. There are worse things to be addicted to, I think. But my problem is, I don't, I listen to them when I'm running, or, I listen to them when I'm washing dishes, or, folding laundry, all the things. But often, I don't listen for more than 10 or 15 minutes. And lots of podcasts that I love are an hour long. And then, just to be able to see all of the ones that are in progress is great. That's the feature, one of my favorite features of it.
Yeah, but the thing I value most about all podcast catchers is their ability to tailor themselves to how I want to listen to podcasts that particular day. And that's one of the things I love about Pocket Cast. No matter if my style of listening is way different from everyone else's, it doesn't matter. It'll adapt to me.
Exactly. So, you can also, you can download now, choose to download now or download later. If you're not on Wi-Fi, you can do that. So that that is great too. So it gives you the option to just, like, if I am somewhere where I'm not on Wi-Fi and I just think, oh, here are the things I want to listen to, I'll just say download later, and then they'll be ready for me when I want to listen to them. So.
Now, have you passed the singularity moment where even if you had no job and you just listened to podcasts, you could still not listen to all the podcasts that you wanted to listen to?
Yes, I've definitely reached that. And I also don't listen at higher speeds, which this app will let you do. Do you listen at higher speeds?
No, I've never tried it. I should, but it's like, I don't know. It's like it's weird. I just feel like it's 2% insulting to the hosts, that if they wanted to talk that quickly, then they would have. And I don't know, maybe it'd be nice if, I suppose I'd be grateful if your podcast catcher app condenses all of my thoughtful pauses and the ums and the ums into, my goodness, he's just coming up with those names at the top of a hat. He's Mr. Dynamite on fire. So maybe I shouldn't be objecting to this stuff.
Did you mean to start slowing down a little bit when you were talking?
I'll tell you that my breakthrough moment as a podcaster came when you are allowed to pause for a couple of seconds if you don't have the first 3 words of the next sentence in your mind. You don't have to just keep. It's not like being on a conference call on a speakerphone where the moment that you pause for 1.5 seconds, you lose the ability to complete the sentence because someone else jumps in. So yes. Exactly.
Or, the other thing that I need to train myself out of saying is, this is interesting because that's my pause. That's my don't start talking because I'm about to say something right now. This is really interesting because, and we all need to remind ourselves that if it wasn't interesting, we would not be saying it on a podcast, right?
Yep. That was one of the first things when I started writing for the Sun-Times. It was one of the first helpful things that my editor pointed out, saying, you don't have to say, I think, I believe, or in my opinion, because it is your opinion. You're writing it. So if someone says that you're stating it as a fact that this is the most beautiful app ever written, they're idiots and you don't have to waste word count on them.
Exactly. Well, Andy, do you think we've said all the interesting things we have to say today?
That and 4 others, I will leave it to the listeners to decide which of the 4 are the bonus ones.
Yes, email me at megan@twit.tv if you want to know the 4 things that we said that weren't interesting to you, and email me if you want to make a guess at what Andy's costume is for Comic-Con in New York next week, and you will not win anything except my undying respect for your comic knowledge.
And my gratitude that someone actually knows what it is. But I'm taking a gamble going deep catalog, because if I've been walking the show floor for 6 hours and still nobody has taken any notice of me, I'll have to say, did you not see that TV show? I know it was a long time ago, but come on. No one wants my picture.
Well, I would, if I were there, I would want your picture. So.
Thank you.
Andy, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure talking to you. Is there anything besides the Material podcast that we should listen to tomorrow after Google makes their big announcement? Mac Break Weekly, of course. Anything else that we should point people to?
Nope. If you can spell my last name, you can check out my Twitter and my Instagram and read my blog. I'm Ihnatko at both of those places, and my blog is at ihnatko.com. My stuff at the Sun-Times is hard to find because their search facility is not very good, but we're working to fix that. But I'm usually at suntimes.com with the stuff that people pay me to actually talk about. Or write about it.
Right. And if you can't spell his last name, Google will usually spell it for you. I just throw some consonants in there, and it usually finds you for me.
I didn't get it right until I was 12 years old myself. Don't worry about it.
Andy, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
And that's it. Thank you for joining us on iOS Today. We record around 12:30 Pacific time every Monday, and Leo will be back next week. Not sure what we'll be talking about, but something relating to his vacation and probably his glossy new iPhone 7. So tune in. And again, email me at megan@twit.tv if you have questions or comments or you want to guess what Andy's costume was. And we'll see you next week on iOS Today.